Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Today is May 14th, 2025. The time is 7 o'clock. And you're all right. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Do I have, let me turn this on. Is it going? Am I going? It's going. It's going. Good? All right, we'll call this to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hondru? Here. Commissioner Oravecz? Commissioner Lazzini?
Here.
Commissioner Sray?
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get into our agenda, we do have a couple things to recognize. The first thing we'd like to recognize is the accomplishment of the promotion to Eagle Scout for Meet Raj. So we do have a certificate of achievement for you, and like we normally would, we'd like you to come up and tell us a little bit about your project.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Before I begin, I would like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here and talk about myself and how I got my Eagle rank. My name is Meet Rajay, and I'm a high school senior at South Fayette High School. I was a part of Troop 2 since 2018 until I turned 18 in February this year. I got Eagle on that same month. Getting Eagle has been far important to me than just another scout rank. It has been my dreams whenever I first joined Boy Scouts. My journey of 8 years to achieve this rank has taught me many life lessons and made me understand the importance of discipline, which I continue to use throughout my life. I am confident that living through the scouting principles into adulthood will continue to succeed for me in the future. As I reach the end of the high school this year, I will be attending Penn State University for my dream as a chemical engineer. Talking about my Eagle project, I always wanted to support society, and the project allowed me the chance to do so. My project was focused on collecting food for people in need through the form of a food drive, as well as building a kiosk that can be used for future donations. With the help of family, friends, and neighbors, I was able to collect over 270 pounds of food. The goal for this project was to only collect 200 pounds. And surprising, this shows the commitment of fellow scouts and people donating for the food they have. Scouts from Troop 2 and I helped build a kiosk, which is currently at Robinson Mall, and serves as a way to take in future donations that can be sent directly to the food bank. I am happy with my project, and as I was able to support the community, which is very important as it's one of the general important principles of Boy Scouts. Once again, I thank everyone for supporting me and having a good rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you. It's an awesome project. Well done. Like that. Come on up.
I have images of my project if you want to see your...
Oh, yeah,
I'd
be
like
awesome.
to see it. I was actually curious if you had a picture of it.
I do. It's like all the...
Yeah, you got everything.
Yeah, it's what I use to turn in. These are images of like me building the kiosk itself with fellow scouts. We used it out of wood, supplies from Lowe's. We got all the supplies. We used gloves, safety gear, drills.
How long did it take you?
So maybe took 3 hours
Oh, wow.
with the help of 6 scouts.
I could use your.
Yeah. Can you build IKEA closets?
It was organized. And we were efficient. It took a lot of time though. It was maybe 2 feet, 3 feet tall. These are the foods that we collected, over 270 pounds of it. The goal was only 200 pounds, so surpassing that was definitely great for us.
And the kiosk stays at the mall?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Robinson Mall. It's
Where
used
out in the mall?
There's a place called Little Bunny's Place. It's basically a daycare for children that are in the mall.
Okay.
Any parents that want to drop off their kids while going in the mall, they can drop off their kids there, and they won't make, I don't know, they'll be entertained.
Okay.
In this way, it's like a good place to put a kiosk where maybe parents are getting older, not parents, but their children are getting older, their parents will
Extra
come back.
food, they're not gonna eat it.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
Any supplies can go into that kiosk, which is used to go directly to the food bank.
Is that the finished project right here, or?
Yes, the kiosk is right there.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
very cool.
Should be a bit further. This is us turning in the food to Shims. Shims is the food bank that we worked at.
Okay.
South Hills Interfaith Movement Faith.
Okay.
Generally, that size.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Come up around.
Work with that. We're doing a whole bunch of
What's up, Chief? You gotta be front and center.
You gotta be front and center, it's not about us, right? Is that out of the way?
Okay. All right. Congratulations, 1, 2, 3. And
Oh.
one on, sorry, one on this for social media, of
Okay,
course.
there you
And 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Thanks again. Good job.
Thank you.
Nice job. Appreciate it. Thank you. Is that mine? Then the next order of business before we get started, last month's meeting, we passed a resolution recognizing May 14th today as Apraxia Awareness Day. So I'd like to read the resolution, and then Amber, if you would like to say a few words, we'd love to have you up and hear from you. So Resolution 5 of 2025, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of South Fayette, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, to inform residents of Apraxia Awareness Day. Whereas May 14th marks Childhood Apraxia of Speech Day, during which awareness will be raised throughout South Fayette Township about childhood apraxia of speech, an extremely challenging speech disorder that affects 1 in 1,000 children. Whereas childhood apraxia of speech causes children to have significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe speech defects in children, deficits in children. Whereas the act of learning to speak comes effortlessly to most children, those with apraxia require early, appropriate, and intensive speech therapy, often for many years, to learn to speak. Whereas without appropriate speech therapy intervention, children with apraxia will have diminished communication skills, but are also placed at high risk for secondary impacts in reading, writing, spelling, and other school-related skills. Whereas that such primary and secondary impacts diminish future independence and employment opportunities and challenge the ability to become productive, contributing citizens if not resolved or improved. Whereas public awareness about childhood apraxia of speech in South Fayette Township is essential for families of children with this neurological disorder and the professionals who support them to achieve the needed services for those learning to use their own voice. Whereas our highest respect goes to these children as well as their families for their effort, determination, and resilience in the face of such obstacles. Let it be resolved that May 14th, 2025 is Apraxia Awareness Day, and the citizens of South Fayette Township and surrounding are encouraged to work with their communities to increase awareness and understanding of childhood apraxia of speech. Apraxia Kids is the leading nonprofit that strengthens the support systems in the lives of children with apraxia of speech. Please visit www.apraxia-kids.org for more information. Resolved and enacted this 9th day of April 2025 by the Board of Commissioners, Township of South Fayette, in this lawful session regularly assembled. So, if you'd like to come up with your children.
Thank you again. They each wanted to say something, so
That's
I'll
great.
Keep it short. I wanted to share an update since we had the same honor last year. We've had a lot of local state support, so our representative, Representative Jason Ortite, had introduced to the House early in the year a resolution also declaring today Apraxia Awareness Day in the state of Pennsylvania, and that is moving along and will hopefully be signed by the governor any day. He also helped push for insurance coverage legislation to amend the Stuttering Act that was passed last year. Only 2 or 3 states across the country cover stuttering, and will hopefully be able to expand that to cover apraxia too. And Senator Devlin Robinson has also signed on to similar resolutions where the Senate recognizes today as Apraxia Awareness Day too.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, who wants to go first? Okay, remember? Okay.
You're going to tell us about your medals?
You can tell them about your medals and be polite. Okay.
Hello, my name is Laigh Vecchio. I was diagnosed with apraxia. I was 4 years old and never got to speak clearly. I was 4 years old, and there's my friend Leigh over there for me.
Okay. Are you done?
And thank you for all my fans. You gave me all my medals, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Addie. I am 10 years old. My sister Laigh Vecchio is one of the sweetest girls I've met. She is always smiling and full of cheer. When I was 4 years old, my sister was 2 years old. When she was 2 years old, we realized that something was different about her. My sister would not speak. We thought at first she was just a late talker, but it was 2 whole months, but still no voice. All she could make was noises. She was frustrated a lot because she could not tell us what she wanted. Now it is 1 year later. She still can't speak, and 1 more year, but still the same way. And then while my mom was trying to find a way to see what was happening, and she found Apraxia Kids. Now, 5 years later, my sister, #FutureToothFairy, is a star that shines bright. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. You can say where you get your medals, and then we will.
Where did you get your medals from?
No. Where did you get your medals?
Yeah, I don't have a medal.
So the Apraxia Walk that is in Pittsburgh every October honors each Apraxia star, and they get a medal and a few other things. And we collect ours and wear them often.
Oh, very nice. Amber, would it be easier for me just to walk down here and hand this to you?
So much joy. I love it. So much joy.
Which one's your most favorite? Yeah, that one's really blue. That's pretty good. Good job. There you go. Want to get your picture?
She is a peace sign.
All right, now the fun stuff, right? We'll move on to item 6. This is public comment on agenda items only. I do want to remind anyone making public comment that these meetings are recorded. Does anyone have any public comments? We will move to item 7, correspondence. South Fayette Library Report, Ben?
No additional comments. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Oh, took a look at it today. Thank you. B, Oak Ridge Volunteer Fire Department report. That's posted for anyone to
Right.
take a look at.
Yep.
Dan, Southbridge EMS. Thank you. Must be another 45-minute, huh? Wait till we get to page 5 or 6. Item number 8, consent of calendar items, approval of the minutes from last month. Does anyone like to make a motion to approve last month's minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second. No, you second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, payment of bills. Is there
Just
anything you want to review there, John?
Yeah, just a few things to note. Bills this month, our highest bills. We do have almost $900,000 in debt service this month, which brought our expenditures up, as well as our monthly health insurance is a normal recurrence on the list of bills, but it is high this month. And then just our website renewal and various engineering charges for some of our project coordination round out our top 5.
Yeah. Do we have 2 trucks in there too, from TriStar? There was something there for 191 F600s.
We just received one bucket truck this morning.
Okay.
Nice.
Maybe that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Good.
I just look at the big numbers.
The small stuff that adds up. We were the big
Yes, all the other stuff adds up.
Right.
Can someone please make a motion to approve paying the bills?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Financial reports?
Yeah, looking at budget to actual, this month, or last month, I should say, we did receive a good chunk of real estate tax at last. About 1.4 million in the last 30 days came through. I did want to point out, we had a discussion about the local services tax. We do separate that on our revenues. You can have a look and see. There is some effort with some of our municipal sponsors. I guess there's a bill in Harrisburg to potentially
There is.
increase that. So just wanted to point out that it does show up on our general fund revenue to the tune of about $325,000 a year.
That's the current LSA that's at $52 per employee for wherever you work.
Correct.
I guess that has been stagnant. I went to a meeting last week. It's been stagnant since 1965.
Wow.
So that's in the state legislature right now. And where do we have that line item? Just so I
If you
make
look
note.
under the revenues, it looks like
310-160.
it's
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Current and delinquent. Other things just to point out that our total revenue to date is about 4.7 million. 2.6 of it came this month, so we're trending in the right direction. We did run a little bit of a deficit still this month, largely because of those debt service payments. But from this point forward, I expect our to be positive at the conclusion of each month.
Does anyone have any questions on the financial reports, or do we want to? We went through all of that. Statement of financial. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept?
I'll make. Oh. Go
Flip
ahead.
a coin.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bank account balances?
The bank account balances are there as of the end of April. Give you a sense of where our various funds are. You can see we're still kind of in the process of building up the general fund. Still just a little over $1 million in that fund right now, but that should be increasing as the tax revenues continue to come in. Any questions on the balances?
No.
Have a motion to accept the bank balances?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 9, liaison reports. I'll start with public safety. As I mentioned before, earlier this week, last week, I was at a meeting of the Pennsylvania Municipal League. One of the other items that are on the agenda, and Dan, you might find this interesting, was sustainable public safety services. And not to read the whole thing, but it's been recognized. Volunteer fire and EMS services have been at a crisis level for years, and there's valid concern when needed. State level incentives are needed, including incentives to achieve voluntary consolidation. They're trying to push through the legislator the importance of recognition and recognizing the importance to properly fund, reimburse, and support ambulance services so they can continue to serve our community. So that's something that, you know, your municipal leaders are working, trying with the state legislators to, you know, make sure it's brought to the forefront. So that's basically all I have from a public safety standpoint. Becky, did you have anything from public infrastructure?
No, nothing to report. I was out of town for the meeting, so.
Nothing in Ireland? Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else we had to talk about?
What's in Ireland?
Leanne, do you have anything in finance?
I do. So, representing SHACOG, Jim Vitale, who is one of the board members, did recently pass away in the past month. Also, Lou, the president, has been a little under the weather. So we'll say that. So I don't know if we're going to have the next meeting, so just to be aware of that. But from last month, the meeting that we did have, a lot of the discussion was around amending the bylaws. So they haven't been looked at since the 90s. Most of the discussion has been around the penalties because I think there's something like 25 or so municipalities that participate in SHACOG. In any given month, however, we struggle to get quorum. So there was a lot of discussion around penalties for members not attending, or if you miss like 3 consecutive meetings, then there will be a fine. Not sure we're going to implement something like that, but they're also, and John, you're probably aware of this, looking to see if, you know, because I'm the representative for SHACOG, Becky's my backup, but then maybe John, even you being like an additional backup just to give quorum, but not necessarily have voting rights in some of those discussions. So still working through that. It also formalizes the fire chief's advisory committee there. And then those were the major talking points. So everything else seems to be going fine, but we are looking just to get more participation in SHACOG, or I don't know, looking to see if maybe we want to do something smaller that favors our municipalities and townships. So anyway, that's my update.
Thank you for that. Tim is not here. Mark, do you have anything on community or economic development?
Sure, I would just add that I was at the Parks and Rec Board meeting last week, and I know Paula has some good information, what's going on at Fairview, so some trails and things, so I won't steal her thunder, but thanks.
There you go.
All
You're
good.
welcome. Any old or unfinished business?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to item 11, new business, 11A. Discuss and consider awarding the Washington Pike and Twin Ponds Lane traffic signal update contract to Bronder Technical Services Incorporated in the amount of $394,876.47. And they were the low bidder.
They were the low bidder. I just did want to add a few things on this. We've already talked to the contractor. We do anticipate cutting a few items from this. This was primarily, almost entirely grant funded. But even at that, there was a little bit of equipment we looked to remove from this, but our recommendation is to award the contract as it is. And they've already agreed verbally to do that.
Yeah, these are just upgrades to the lights that are
Exactly.
existing.
Yeah, we do have about 313,000 in grants through the Green Light Go program. I
Correct.
believe that's what it's called.
So 313 will cover the 394?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying? Okay.
Well, it will cover most of it.
Yes.
We're trying to, 394 was the bid, but
Trying to
Jason and his
walk it down.
team did ask PennDOT if we could eliminate one of the mast arm poles that was in the schedule, because the existing mast arm that's out there is in fine shape and doesn't really need a replacement. So it would probably bring that really close to the grant number.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve 11A, considering awarding the Washington Pike and Twin Ponds traffic signal upgrade?
I'll make
to
that motion.
Bronder?
I'll make second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 11B, discuss and consider the fourth and final pay estimate for Stash contracting in the amount of $9,793, leaving a zero balance. That was for the demolition of those buildings up there.
Correct, yeah. Everything's been satisfied. Property restoration's complete, so we're good to close them out.
I'll make that motion. Sorry, I guess I should wait for you to ask.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Someone want a second?
Try and get done by 7:45.
I'm just going to read it again.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and consider pay app number 1 to John Kosky Contracting in the amount of $114,702 for the Mohawk Road project.
Jason and his team reviewed the pay estimate, verified that all the work listed was performed, withheld 10% for retainage, and authorized us to pay the $114,702.98.
Yeah. No, he's not here, but do you have any guesstimate when that's going to be wrapped up?
We just talked about that today. We anticipate that being open for traffic in about a month and a half.
Great.
Oh, wow, great.
Would anyone like to make a motion to consider pay app number 1 to John Kosky Contracting in the amount of $114,702.98 for the Mohawk Road project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. 11D, discuss and consider resolution 2025-8, accepting funding from Active Allegheny Grant Program in the amount of $40,000 for a crosswalk on Mayview Road and a 415-foot pedestrian connector on Mayview Road to Upper St. Clair's Boyce Mayview Perimeter Trail. So I guess this is part of that active transportation plan, right? That was a project.
This is a
in there?
grant that was listed in the active transportation plan. The grant that we received will go towards soft costs, towards planning. This isn't going to construct the trail itself, but just to allow us to plan for it.
So really quick, are we gonna have like a crosswalk like over the road, or is it just a crosswalk, or is there like,
Probably signal, right? Signals.
what are we thinking?
I think we both can speak on it. It's going to depend on what PennDOT allows us to do.
Okay.
Because I would think if it's a bridge, that's going to be
A bridge would be costly.
Very
Obviously, the intent is to approach it as utilizing the existing. And if it is tight, and if that doesn't work, then obviously we'll look towards pedestrian type, crossings and whatnot.
great.
Okay.
I think we
So
also,
this resolution is just to accept the funding of the
Yeah.
$40,000. Right. So would someone like to make a motion to accept the $40,000 from Active Allegheny?
I'll make that motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm looking over there.
Item
Waiting.
11E, discuss and consider resolution 2025-9 for PennDOT's policy and procedure for consultant selection.
I'll give you a little bit of intro. I know that title might be a little vague. We've talked to you about Bridge Street, the bridge on Bridge Street,
Is that
20-foot
TIP
structure
program?
that needs to be replaced, correct, and getting it on the state's TIP program or Transportation Improvement Program. We've gotten some good news there. Looks like PennDOT's going to approve that bridge for the TIP. They've notified Jason and his team that they can begin design of the bridge. For that project, for the Bridge Street replacement, PennDOT's requiring us to use what they call their ECMS system and, pass a resolution that would allow Gibson Thomas to act on the township's behalf within that system for project coordination, basically. Anything I missed there, Jason?
No, basically, they're naming their engineering of record in ECMS, but that does not obligate the township to select us for every project. You can still select consultants as you will on state-related items, but this is the formal act in ECMS to allow that to happen.
So that
for
gives you
Bridge
access
Street.
to the portal.
Exactly, yes.
All right. Anyone like to make a motion for resolution 25-9 for PennDOT's policy and procedure for the consultant selection?
I'll make that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 11F, discuss and consider appointing Dennis Smith to the Board of Standards.
Right. Board of Standards has been vacant for a good while. We haven't been forced to use it. This would be a board that would be convened if a building permit application was somehow denied based on our interpretation of the building code. They would go to the Board of Standards. So Mr. Smith is a resident, has a career in codes and code consulting. And so we definitely think he has the experience to serve on that board and basically help us just eliminate that hole we have in our boards and commissions.
Very good, thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to appoint Dennis Smith to the Board of Standards?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Anyone?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 12, Department Reports. Manager's Report, Mr. Barrett.
Great, thank you very much. My report is submitted to you all for review. Just go over some of the highlights. We did get a little bit of good news in terms of our road program starting in advance. Initially, we had believed, based on our communication with the contractor, that it would be later in June, but they had some openings in their schedule and are going to start work actually this week. Some of their dates have changed since I submitted this report to you guys based on some of the weather we've had. But Alpine Road and Mohawk Road are the largest roads in the program this year. They will keep. I'm sorry, not Alpine, Hickory Grade Road. They will keep Hickory Grade Road open in one direction as they mill it, so one lane at a time. They're looking to begin that, I believe, early next week. And we might get some more information when we get into the other parts of the agenda. In terms of other capital projects, the turf fields in Fairview, got some good news there. We have been waiting on the NPDS permit for a good while, secured those permits. So we're able to move forward with the contractor, held pre-construction. They're looking to mobilize and get started here in the very near future. So can look for some activity in Fairview that way. Opening the splash park, I know Paul might touch on a little bit there, but just sharing with everyone that we're prepared to open it Memorial Day weekend. A few changes this year with attendance and concessions, but hope that we're in a good place to go forward there. We did the resolution for ECMS and Bridge Street, but just to share with you that good news, that will take the majority of the financial responsibility for that off of the township. We might still have some match, but I probably is in the 10 to 15% range. So a considerable savings. Although in talking with Jason and their team, and based on the condition of that bridge, we may need to look at a kind of a temporary structure.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Considering those 7 houses, that's their only way to their property. What do you do in that case?
Definitely, we're going to need a temporary structure for the construction itself. We may need one in the interim until the TIP monies become available, and that is actually ready for construction. So we are making preparations as far as that goes. That bridge has deteriorated very quickly. Every 6-month inspection, it seems like it's getting worse, and that inspection is being done by the state and their consultants based on a yearly contract. So as part of our response to the latest inspection, we pretty much need to be prepared with a temporary structure, which is a minimal cost in the grand scheme of things, but we do need to have that ready.
Sorry to get one? Yeah.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And quite frankly, you can utilize it elsewhere. We do have a number of bridges that we're going to probably need it as well when they're replaced. So it's an item where you could purchase it once and reuse it.
Okay.
So.
But are you able to adjust the length of the temporary bridge?
The Bridge Street would probably be the longest span out of the next coming bridges. So it would definitely work on Pinch and Alpine and the ones coming up. So yeah, we've already looked at that. The approximate cost for a temporary bridge is maybe in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. There's a few other minor costs that go into it, permitting and things of that nature, but that's essentially what it is.
And where would we house it when we're done?
Public Works or
And there's I know, but I'm like,
Vitaly's garage.
Like there's space for that. I'm just making sure.
His home garage. We already rented. Yeah.
But we have space for that, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have to buy them, or can you rent them?
You can rent them. You can rent them, and we will share those costs with you on a per day basis and whatnot. So you can make decisions.
They go per day?
Yes, you can.
It's probably better off
in
buying it long term.
theory,
Probably.
if you bought it, maybe if another township needed it, you could be like, oh, you could rent it from us.
Absolutely.
It's readily
You could
available.
sell it,
Start a little
Just a
business.
thought.
yeah. No, we have a little bit of
I don't
time
wanna be
before
in the
those
bridge
decisions need to be made, but it is something that we're collectively thinking about because it's coming.
We're going to need it 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wanted to share with the board that we had a stakeholder meeting last evening with our consultants for 515 Miller's Run. Their schedule right now is to take the feedback we received last night, get a revised version of the conceptual design to us within 2 weeks, and then they hope to be here at our June meeting to present the board with what they think could be a final conceptual design, and would be potentially asking us for feedback and a green light to get it to design development. So they are moving quickly. I thought the discussion last night was good. They gave us a construction estimate of about $3.2 million. That includes about $500,000 contingency. That comes into about about 225 to 230 a square foot, which is pretty good.
That's great.
So we're happy with the way that's going. So look for some more information there. Lastly, wanted to just announce that our intern through the Local Government Academy's Municipal Intern Program has started. TJ Sezcow is with us. He's actually, he took a spreadsheet that Chuck put together for us when we were considering adjustment to the millage, and has, kind of all of our addresses on it. And he's looking at various residential developments that are existing that came about through either neighborhood design, planned economic development, open space, and traditional, and doing actual calculations as to what our real estate tax revenue is for each property in those developments. Just giving us some real good information so we can kind of make an analysis on how those different zoning districts, setbacks, size of property, those things, what they do to our revenue and
Cost to serve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Great.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's helpful.
yeah.
Great.
That's all I
Thank
have.
you, John.
Unless there's questions, yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm sorry the report gets longer and longer, but
The printing just gets smaller and smaller on one page.
yeah, I'm trying to fit it all on one page for the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
The bulk of it's demolition, obviously, and I think you got some updates on demolition
Mm-hmm.
already. So if you have any further questions on anything in the report, I'm open.
I was just, when I reread your report, I wanted to have an update on some of the blighted properties, but we did get an update on that already.
Okay.
So I didn't have anything else that was,
I think we're getting there, right? I think we're getting there, slowly but surely.
A lot of loops you have to jump through,
Yep.
unfortunately.
just can't knock them
5 yards a
down.
month. 5 yards a month. We're almost.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Building permits?
Right. Building permits for the month of April were relatively slow, especially by comparison to
Last year.
prior year.
Yep.
And as year to date, we're running about almost a little more than 50% less than what we had last year. So hopefully that ticks up. I know we have some projects in the hopper that might get us there, but this month it was mostly residential permits, just a couple small commercial alterations that show up.
Okay. Andrea? Community and communications? You have some exciting stuff.
Yes, I do. Andrea Egler, Director of Communications and Community Development. We published the spring issue of South Fayette Connect, and our revenues represented by the advertising was twice the cost to print and mail it, so that's good financial figures for the issue. The TV channel, I have the bulletin board built out, and there are some, you see on the report, kind of some screenshots of a couple iterations of that. There's a few sections on it that will scroll through different information. So I have a couple sections that are automatically pulling news and events from our website. So that's kind of automated, and we're getting the same information on the channel as the website. And then some other static information like our contact information, the senior center activity schedule, things like that. So this is ready to go live as soon as Comcast fixes a glitch on their end with their cable in the building. And then the next step after that will be me completing some training and some learning on scheduling the television meeting recordings. So the bulletin board will be first, that'll be there, that'll be live, and then we'll add in the recordings that will play now and again. It'll interrupt the bulletin board to play meetings.
So yeah, just a quick question on that. Like, the meetings won't be broadcast live, right? We're gonna have them then post them
Correct.
to the station, and are they available on demand? Or if there was a planning meeting and a board meeting, do you have to sit through the planning meeting, or unless you can just fast forward, right?
On
demand.
They're always going to continue to be on demand anytime on YouTube. You can and you can fast forward those and watch those on demand. Television will purely be it'll be a certain time, and you have to sit through it, or you have to know if you want to watch it or happen upon it.
Yeah.
Yes, so we have both, we'll have both.
I just know I'll be asked.
Yes, yes. And there should be something I'll be able to pull, like an automatic schedule that comes up on the bulletin board as well, saying like what the next upcoming or couple of upcoming meetings are and when they'll be aired.
Right, Parks and Rec Tuesday at 8 o'clock.
Right,
Not the TV show Parks and Rec.
right, when they are. Yeah, that's it. We don't have the rights to that.
That was on Thursday.
Andrew, a
good
quick
show, though.
question
It was a
now.
good show.
Do we have, I guess I'm just thinking, because I'm like, oh, we get a whole channel now. There's like all this whole world of possibility. Will we partner at all with the school board just to have like school announcements or like school cancellations or just anything like that? Or I don't know how, if they're willing to like video sports, like we can broadcast those if people, I don't know.
Yeah, we can discuss it. I'm hoping to kind of get our things kind of launched first, get that in place, and then we could discuss some ways to add it. One thing that I need to do is be, really efficient and think about how can we automate. So there might be some ways, to talk with the school district about if they're posting something somewhere on their website, is there a way that I can use their feed to automatically feed so that we're not constantly having to do manual updating, which we don't have the bandwidth for. And same with video recordings. We certainly could look at ways if they have something to put those in the mix as well. So yeah, we can certainly look into that.
Great.
Good idea.
Yes.
And then you had some stats on maybe there's the other file with statistics on hits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did want to point out on this one as well, the HOA forum that we have coming up May 29th. We're up to 21 homeowner associations, which is more than, great. That was even more than I expected. And yeah, on the other file for the quarterly January through March, kind of the biggest standout was our all-time views for YouTube went up about 10%, a huge jump because we are offering the meeting recordings on there now. There are more things for people to watch, so we've gotten a lot more viewers on YouTube.
Nice.
Did you have any other questions? I'd be happy to answer them.
You did not. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Nice job.
Thank you.
It's very well done. Thank you.
11E, or I guess we're on 12. 12E, engineers report.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Jason Polovich with Gibson Thomas. We've talked about a number of my items in the report, but I'll go over a few that maybe we didn't. The MS4 program, we are working on a grant application for DEP for the Growing Greener program. That would include 2 pond retrofits. That program is a nice fit for those types of projects, and it only requires a 5% township match if successful. So we're going to submit that by the end of June. Mohawk Road, I updated you that construction project has been going well, and we're hoping to get that wrapped up in the next month and a half here and reopen that road. Bridge Street, we touched on a little bit. So the TIP program is a nice program because it is almost fully funded. I think the 10 to 15% might be on the high side of expectations for what this would cost the township, and the upfront monies really, other than perhaps the temporary bridge, there really shouldn't be an obligation at this point. So I don't think it's going to, the only drawback to that program is it's a little bit lengthy. But it is hard to get bridges accepted into that program. I think what helps that structure is the fact that those folks really are landlocked on the other side. So that was a favorable project for that one. I'll let Paula talk on Fairview. I did want to note, it was asked at the last meeting, the Stonegate Phase 3, 4, and 5. We have been working with the solicitor and his staff and township staff on the developers agreement. They are looking to break ground this season on that phase. That would include another 118 homes for 3, 4, and 5. Beyond that, it's been a little bit quiet in the planning front. We do have 2 applications that are in for acceptance, and they are both Walker's Mill related. One is the consolidation of the properties associated with it, and then the second application is for the actual subdivision portion, but it's only for the Oakdale portion. They're not coming in for final plans on the South Fayette portion at this time.
Yeah, we have conditions on that one.
Correct. Okay. Correct. That was conditionally approved, but yes. Other than that, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I do not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Facilities report.
He really
It's the foremost.
Oh, that's the foremost property. Okay, okay. I thought it was residential. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't.
You have to remember, you have to say things where they used to be.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Good evening,
Hi, Vitaly.
Commissioners.
Hello.
Vitaly, Facilities. This is my first report in my new role. Please review it. There's only a few pages so far. I kept my main focus on objective and goals. Objective for preventive maintenance for such a beautiful facility. That also include landscaping, exterior lights, HVAC system efficiency, electrical internal system, and a few updates on the page number 5, landscaping updates. The contractor completed the mowing. He also restored dead spots, provided dead spot repairs, erosion control washout, also interior and exterior lighting. Within the next 2 weeks, I will have a contractor come in to replace a few relays that are in charge for synchronizing system for outdoor lights, and we have an issue with the internal corridor next to Paula's office that is sometimes it doesn't work. But problems were identified, pinpoint, and everything will be resolved. On the page number 7, monthly cleaning protocols and results. One of the item monitoring cleanliness and a safety standard. There are a few challenges with existing cleaning contractor. It's below my standards. That's my conclusion.
Find a new one.
You gotta find new ones.
Let's find a new one, right?
And we can
talk about that.
We can talk about. Yep.
Yeah.
Special projects. That's my short-term special projects.
So I was going to ask you if you don't mind, because I meant to ask you, and I'm glad you have it on your report. The not necessarily the cleaning, but restoration with Belfour from the fire.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that and how it's going? And
yeah, the guys they responded immediately to our emergency situation. Despite the price tag, they did a phenomenal job. They cleaned an entire first floor where the police occupied. I have not received any complaints, but they were.
Yeah, I mean, I was here days after. You would never know anything happened.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
They did a very good job, and they were very professional. Yeah, the special projects restoration, we still have to do the sidewalk restoration after local disaster. We have to restore the sidewalk, some pavings, mulching area, and replant the bushes. Stormwater media installation and a small detention pond in front of a police station, detention pond, or as known as rain garden. So then we have to comply with the DEP permit and a closed NDPS permit that have been issued for this building. Also, my main focus keeping my main focus on building mechanical components, assets, and setups in a work order system. So I'm putting every important component in the system, and there will be all work orders and the maintenance schedule for. We are anticipating. Drip pants replacement by Half-Tac. According to them, they were installed improperly. Some the few units have to be few units have to be repaired. Also, be monitoring the cost.
Yeah. In this building here.
In this building here.
Yeah.
And challenges on page number 9, potential challenges without designated maintenance staff in the facility operations. It's all outlined. Feel free to go through. Also, a very last page, 2025 paving program. The numbers are indicated. So there are a couple of hiccups with Columbia Gas at the 2 locations, Miller's Run Extension, one of them, and Hickory Great Road. Columbia Gas, they have to follow PUC regulations to amend the lines, so they have to submit the paperwork, and some bureaucracy involved. They probably will take them up to June, July to amend the lines. That kind of impacting our schedule. That being said, I'm in the contact with the township manager, Gibson Thomas, and a contractor, just for a deduction on Miller's Run Road extension. We might be able to do an addition elsewhere. I would assume Hickory Grade Road, so we just will extend the limits to compensate for the deduction. And then the gas company will come in and will provide the milling and restoration. The contractor they're using, I believe it's Michael Facciano.
Okay.
Commissioners, that's all I have for you.
Good first report.
Let me know if you have any questions.
You're busy.
I just attended two days training for facility management, and I'll be focusing on the long-term goals for this facility.
Yeah, you'll have some other ones coming too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for telling.
Paula Parks and Recreation.
Good evening. It's been very busy getting ready for summertime. John talked about the ball fields, and so did Jason. So they are mobilizing this week, delivering equipment and material. They will, early next week, will be securing with fencing. They know that the splash pad will be opening Memorial Day weekends. When we get that whole site secure, since it's so close. I had park attendant training today, and I already told them that we're going to get complaints about noise and dust, and just apologize that we were hoping that this would have started and been done by now, but it just had a lot of delays. So kind of share that information also with township staff that, we're aware of it, and it's not convenient, but just kind of how our cards fell. So they're estimating to kind of finish up at the end of August, beginning of September. So that's very exciting, finally, to get that started. Also, Field Turf, who's doing the ball fields, will also be doing our multi-purpose fields, and they currently are in the design and getting us a cost estimate for the multi-purpose fields, because since the ball fields have been delayed, we possibly could go from one project into the next and have some cost savings with mobilization and things like that. So they're in the works of that to get us that information, and might be kind of available for next month or even July. So kind of, I also tonight had a scheduling meeting with football, soccer, and cheerleading, kind of gave them that heads up too, and we're kind of scheduling with possibly of that possibility sometime later this fall, but all of that will come in front of you, but that's kind of how I'm trying to move forward and plan. As for the concession stand, hired 4 park attendants, had their training today. We have 4 high school and college students. They're phenomenal. They were very eager today during the training, created a whole park manual. Taking this on was a lot more than I expected, because I wanted to get policies and procedures in place, train them accurately, and prepare them for up there. But safe to say, I think it's going to be a good turnout. We're also going to go up to the splash pad and train them next week when it's turned on, which I hope, Dan, it'll be turned on next week. And so they're going to be there Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 7:30. The splash pad hours are 10 to 9 p.m. So there won't be anyone there kind of in the evening hours, but there's not a lot of people that attend in those evenings. But we have a fully stocked concession stand, everything from Dippin' Dots, ice cream, pop, snacks, even got some swim diapers and sunscreen for those moms that might forget things like I do all the time. Some other park things, we got $18,000 in grants through the USTA, also $4,000 from the middle department. I don't know what that means. It's just what they're called. But both for resurfacing the courts at Fairview. So we're going to come in, waiting to get on the schedule for a local contractor to come in, and they kind of fill the cracks, and then they also paint. I don't know if you've ever down to Morgan, but we resurfaced those last year. Look really nice. So that's what we're going to do, the courts up at Fairview. Got some grant money for that. We have our our pet expo coming up tomorrow. If anyone wants to come on out, pets must be on a leash. Last year we got rain out, so this will be our first year having this event. So hopefully it's a success. The sun's supposed to come out. Ian is working on training our summer camp staff to start in mid-June. And that is kind of all the major things, not a lot going on. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Hope you didn't jinx yourself with the rain comment.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking now, the forecast, to make sure.
Any questions?
Looks good so far.
I do not. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paula.
Chief?
Yeah, so far, so good.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Phoenix, Chief of Police. With the warmer weather, our bike patrols have started back up again throughout the township on the Panhandle Trail and certain neighborhoods. You'll be seeing our bike officers out there starting this month. April was a rough month for our police cars. We have 4 that are currently out of service right now. 2 of them were involved in traffic accidents. It was determined that neither officer was at fault. One has a transmission problem. And the other one, we had an electrical fire out here in the parking lot, as Chuck knows.
I was there.
Yeah. So we have 4 cars currently out of service. 3 of them will be repaired. The Charger that had the electrical fire, we're probably just going to scrap it.
That was an old one.
Yeah, it was
right.
an old one.
Wasn't that cheap bullies or something, right?
I think it was his old car, yeah. In April, we had 526 calls for service. Which is 66 more than we had last April. So the trend continues of having an increase in calls every month so far this year. Our officers stopped 252 cars, made 252 traffic stops in April, which is 95 more than last April. So Officer Zurcher's doing a wonderful job out there with the traffic unit stopping cars, and our officers, with the increase, the warmer weather in the springtime, we get more movement with the cars and things. So that's a positive. On April 29th, we concluded our 8-week Citizen Police Academy that we started back in March. We had 15 residents that had signed up and graduated. And through our evaluations and feedback, we've received nothing but positive feedback from them. They loved it. They're going to spread the word. It's really, the group was wonderful. They interacted. They asked questions. They were really positive about it. And it really kind of fired me up to try to do it again next year. So
that's what I was going to ask you. 1 year under your belt, is there anything you would do differently?
I don't really think I would. I mean, we got some things that they would maybe want to do a little bit more. They want to do ride-alongs. They want to shoot a rope gun.
You can talk to your insurance people about that.
Yeah. Arrest people. We said you can't do that.
Use a taser. Yeah.
Overall, it was really a wonderful experience. It's been a dream of mine for the 35 years I've been here to have something like that. But we just couldn't do it at the old building. And
What's about the max you'd be able to take?
The what?
The maximum number of people.
We were going to cap it at 25.
25, yeah.
So we had 21 signed up. A couple backed out at the last minute, but we had 15 graduate. Which,
good.
And I think with the word that they're spreading, and they did little video snippets with Harry Funk.
Yeah.
They were. They say they're going to tell all their friends about it and everything. So I think it's really going to take off as we move forward. We'll see. 25 might be a little bit hard to handle, but the only bad thing about it was every night that we did something outside, it was either freezing cold or raining. But other than that, it was a great experience. We are looking into possibly doing a 2 or 3 week kiddie academy in the summertime for like bike safety for younger. That's maybe a year or 2 down the road in addition to this. So it does take up a lot of time, a lot of planning, a lot of resources, but it's great for the community. And it gets the transparency. We didn't give all our secrets away. Yeah, it was really a wonderful experience for everybody.
Good. Thank you very much.
Any questions? No, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Public Works?
I want to touch base on the parks workforce. We did hire one new full-time guy in April, 1st of April. We have a seasonal guy, works from April to October, and then we have 3 college guys just started yesterday. And we have one more or more young guys starting in June. So we have a full crew trying to keep up with all the grass cutting. We're painting all the lacrosse lines and cleaning up for the pavilions for their rentals this summer. So that's a big job. And repairing all the accidents we have through the winter with the water freezing in the water lines and stuff. So. And working at the splash pad. We haven't got that down yet, but we'll get it. On the public works side, we're I'm gonna see that picture Todd was installing that. He put a 3-ton weight limit sign on that Bridge Street down there, which I think PennDOT required that.
Right.
So Todd down there, he put it up for us. And we put 7.5-ton weight limit sign Cecil Sturgeon and Rising Road. So trying to keep the big trucks off them roads back here. Now, our mechanics been busy with brakes, springs, and everything. They're two fantastic mechanics. I'll say that. We had the paving done at the Mayview site by Mealy, which is great. They did a great job, and we started the construction of the park storage building down there also, which is in that one picture right there. So we'll be working on that.
So what kind of stuff are you going to store down there?
Parks equipment.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the parks department at one time.
Yeah.
Because we're getting big and they need more room. We need more room for falls.
Yeah, and you don't want to be moving the stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
I didn't know. It's not for like
basketballs.
Association equipment, is it? Yeah, it's like township stuff.
Township stuff. Okay.
Township mowers and whatnot.
Yeah, right. Now I got you.
Paul is all decorations for Christmas.
Yeah. And more stuff for Joy through Fairview.
Also, we had that big storm the 1st of April. We spent a few weeks cleaning up trees and stuff after that happened. And it was a good thing we had wood waste management. They took all that stuff for us.
Yeah.
Which is great. It worked out well.
Yeah, I was out there. No, you can just dump it on your monthly fee.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah. We have a tipping fee of $300 a month.
Yeah.
Unlimited truckloads, which is great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the number of trees that were down, I know was a good deal. It was a lot.
We spent 3.5 weeks picking them up and cutting them up.
Yeah.
And we were working on his stormwater inlets where he could grade and the paving program for this year. And did a couple 100 feet of French drain on Saigon Road. So we're keeping up with all that.
Yep.
All right.
Come up that way. I see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Anything on request tracker?
It's a little higher this month. I think, the change in weather, the grass really growing has prompted some, maybe some more overgrown complaints. I think we have a little over 50 this month. We've seen some turnover with waste management. So I know that that number of calls for missed pickups seems to have grown a little bit. I know we're working through kind of their transition there, but it's something that is kind of always in front of us.
John, missed pickups were rather high because of the storm too that occurred, because of the number of trees that were down, and it was a disaster that week. So,
right. And then we did get a number of calls after that from people that had to
throw away food and stuff. So we were directing them to some of the dumpsters, either at our locations or at the fire departments. Yep. Okay. Does anyone have any? I don't have any questions on request tracker. Gary, do you have anything for a solicitor's report?
Nothing for public session.
Anything for public comment?
come on, Sue. Come on.
Knew you were waiting there for a reason.
We love Sue.
Sue Cagney. I live on Oak Ridge Road. Back when Apex was here and they were going to build 5 apartment buildings, and sometimes it was 3 apartments because 2 of them were attached to the other buildings. I have a video. I think there's at least 10 there now.
Well, I can't comment on that. I don't think they can build.
They can't build more than what they're
buildings.
approved to build, right? Yeah. Variance and zoning.
They haven't revised their plans since it was approved.
But Jason, you're up there too, right?
Yeah, we inspect it on a weekly basis. Yeah.
So it's 10 buildings?
The building is large. I mean, it's,
Okay.
They look like they're all.
and it has multiple sections within it, but that is consistent with what was approved.
And how many units are there going to be there?
Off the top of my
It's
head,
like
I don't remember.
490, I think, or something.
It's
500.
in the hundreds for sure.
And what are they doing on the other side? Because they were supposed to put half those buildings over there.
It's approved for apartments on that side as well.
Okay.
Yeah, now they did recently split that and, you know, split the developers agreement. So I'm anticipating there may be a request for a change at some point in time, but they can't deviate from what was approved.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you.
Like, how many parking spaces are there? Because it looks like there's an awful lot of apartments there.
Hundreds, literally, but the site was compliant with what they needed.
Because somebody told us that they were a parking spot for 1.5 parking spots for every apartment.
I don't recall, ma'am, off the top of my head. I'll have the answers for the next meeting if that works, or I could email them to the manager.
Yeah, I think
That's also part of the code, right?
It's a
I mean,
parking
Oh,
garage
yeah, it
too,
was a
isn't
code, yes, definitely. All this was reviewed
Yeah.
when they came through planning.
Yeah. It's a parking garage too. Is there a parking garage underneath?
There is.
Yeah.
There's a garage in there?
Portion
Just in
of-
that first building.
Yeah,
The first building's a
portion of
parking
it.
garage.
Correct.
Underneath, there is parking underneath the first building.
Really?
That's what I
There's
was.
a lot of surface spots as well.
Maybe you can park there. You could leave your car there for a weekend. Oh, she's my buddy.
Is there any board discussion? Does anyone have anything? I did want to bring one thing up, and this came up when I was at the municipal league meeting. There was someone from, I want to say McCandless, who was talking about, review of the stormwater ordinance. And I think with some of the NPES stuff, and that was one of the things I mentioned to John. I don't think that was been reviewed. I know it hasn't been reviewed for the 18 months that we've been on board. I don't know how long it's been before that, but it could be something to look at. They mentioned that, I guess, pollution was the first step, and there may be another step now around like impervious, areas. But the suggestion was perhaps putting together a committee of maybe 1 or 2 board members, code enforcement, engineering, and maybe that's something that we could workshop, just to try to get ahead of any type of pre-flood mitigation. I don't know if you work with any of those other communities that are doing that.
We do. We have worked with the conservation districts on that. Your stormwater ordinance is dated approximately 2018 is when that went in. It is state compliant.
Yeah.
There are some changes coming our way as far as the MS4 program. The MS4 program currently integrates water quality standards. They are moving to, once this phase is completed, it's going to be volume requirements.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is going to help communities like South Fayette, because there's going to be a lot of requirements as far as detention and things of that nature, whereas everything up front is just simply water quality.
Yeah. So it's something to consider. And then the other question that I had, I know Tim brought this up at the workshop meeting. I don't think you were mentioning it. And I know that we did some milling on the Cecil surgeon work, and appreciate the weight limit signs, but I do get a lot of comments, from members in the community that still continue to comment on the quality of that road. Should we look at maybe it's probably too late past the window for 2025, but we maybe look at 26 or some other way to start trying to knock some of that out, because I know Traditions was originally going to be the one that would redo that, but
We are, Chuck. In June, July of this year, we're planning to implement full depth reclamation of this road, followed by 3 layers of like a seal and chip for the worst section of the road.
Yeah.
So a core sample's been taken a week or 2 weeks ago. And currently, I'm waiting on lab test results.
Yeah.
Those results will help us to deliver extra materials that have to be added into a grinding machine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use our existing millings from a 2025 program, and also we'll be responsible to buy larger aggregates just to add to it. But it's scheduled for this year, June or July. It's anticipating.
Do you have a sense of how many lineal feet or how long will?
I think it's a 3/4 of the mile, if not mistaken. It's right where we stopped. So we stopped. We abutted to a good section of, I forgot the name of that. There's a one nice fancy house It's from that house to a gas well by Ziggy's house. That section will be done this year.
I think, the conventional wisdom is there's not a lot of residents that live there. But, we have GPS, not we, but GPS is now taking people that way to get to other communities.
Correct.
So most of the comments that I've been getting have not been from residents on that road.
And if we are taking, we were talking about last year, we allocated some money in the general fund just to do the section.
Yeah, we just tried to clean it up a little bit with some millings, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, since large projects are underway, I don't want to utilize, blow the budget.
No, I got you.
on asphalt.
On just one road.
I know, having driven down it, I guess it was the beginning of May, like, you started worrying about safety issues. I mean, some of the holes are just really big, and you have a truck coming up, and you're trying to, slalom through holes.
Cecil Rising, our guys did a pretty good job. We were able to provide the good remedies. It's still temporary, but
Yeah. Yeah, at some point, I think we might have to just talk about, if we're not gonna have a developer do that, maybe, start looking at some of the places that, maybe the township roads aren't in
That's
such
bad.
dire need.
We can
And
transfer
can maybe
money.
try to shift some of it.
What's your thoughts on doing, like previously I've seen tar and chip is like a fraction of the cost of paving. So it's like a double seal tar and chip.
Which location are you referring to?
Well, no, I'm just talking about.
In general.
No,
In general,
yeah, just in general on.
I mean-
Well, I guess on that road, Cecil Sturgeon, instead of paving it, is it half the price to do, it's a
Cecil,
double
yeah.
seal, like tar and chip?
Yes.
And it holds up pretty good
Yeah.
in other areas I've seen it.
Especially once we establish the good base and the grade.
Yeah.
With some improved drainage.
Yeah.
That's the plan. On
That's
that.
the plan. I'm sorry, that's the plan to do that, so not pave it.
Three coats of that.
Oh, yeah, okay. That stuff will last forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will. Since it's a kind of low volume traffic.
Yeah. I think it's always been low volume, but you'll start
Yeah,
seeing
right,
more
right,
and more
right,
and
right.
more, right?
Oh, yeah, once we get a good road, I mean, people will start racing.
I don't want that. I don't want that, but.
Drag racing down.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want people racing on it. All right, does anyone else have any other comments, questions? All right, have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Motion adjourned. Thank everyone
Thank
for
you.
coming.